Is it the Hadron Collider? The Hadron Collider?
Large Hadron Collider.
Large Hadron Collider. What is that thing doing? Smashing particles, ripping up things?
I think it's shooting particles at each other and looking for new particles in the resulting collisions of the particles that they shot at each other.
And what's the point of that?
To find out what smaller particles there are.
And particles would be fuel, propulsion, energy.
It's just so that we know who's
in the party.
The smaller level of physics, what's happening.
Well, and when you say particles, right? Mm-hmm. Are these elements or non-elements?
An element would be a collection of particles.
A collection of particles.
Yeah, like an atom is protons, neutrons, electrons, and so if you shoot two protons at each other, and they break into smaller particles, I think. So that's what would be called a subatomic particle. A subatomic. So at the atomic level is the protons, neutrons, electrons. Well, actually, I don't know if those are subatomic particles. I think. Anyway, lower level subatomic. That's where you get quarks and neutrinos and Higgs boson particles.
What the fuck are those?
It's just the particle that was named after fucking Johnny Higgs, baseball player for the Atlanta Braves.
Bobby Boson.
Bobby Higgs, Bobby Boson.
Bobby Boson, the wide receiver for the Pirates. That would bother me too. It's like, I mean, I was really going to go into it after today, but now that you kind of pissed my cornflakes, you'll never be able to understand it fully. So, just so you know, when you go into this, I don't care how fucking autistic your brain is, you're never figuring it all out. All right,
spend your whole life.
So have fun, Radio Raheem. You're never gonna be able to fucking Goodwill Hunting chalkboard your way out of this one. Mm-hmm. Don't care what you think you got upstairs. Can't read it. So that's why I've always just stayed with Nissan. So I've always stayed with selling cars and trying to get money. That would piss me off though to no end.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, they're like this. No, that part. Like, what is that part? You're like, that's just guys who are obsessed with Jared Leto's Joker.
And they argue about it too.
Yeah.
And at the lowest level, it's about things that can't be observed anyway. So it's like they're arguing about their extrapolation of data. They're not even arguing about something that's observed. They're arguing about something that they're imagining based on what they can observe.
If I drop an egg on the floor, it's going to run everywhere, and then you're like, no, it's not.
You can't see it because I put there's a thing over it.
You put a boson.
As soon as you drop it, this thing comes down and covers it, so you never know whether the egg runs.
I put a piece of wire in it to throw the frequency of the thing that you put in there.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
So at the very small level of what's called quantum particles, at the quantum level, which means like the very small, super small level, fucking things that are floating around, they're not things. They're all right. So this is the way to start thinking about it. There's this thing called the Slit experiment. The Slit experiment. Okay, imagine you have two windows. All right. Now imagine you're standing here throwing baseballs at those two windows. All right. And so what happens is you throw baseballs. You throw thousands of baseballs. You're sitting there all day throwing fucking baseballs. Okay. So a lot of them hit the wall and bounce back. A lot of them also go through the windows, and they leave a mark. Okay, they're like paintballs or something. So eventually, what happens is you have two like scatter patterns of exactly what you'd expect of throwing these these balls through.
Missing the window.
Yes, that's what happens if before it goes through. At the same time, at the time that it goes through the windows, you observe the baseballs. You look and see which window they're going through. If you look and see, if you observe it, if you measure it, they go through these windows and create two scatter patterns exactly the way you'd expect. Okay. Now, if you don't observe it, if you don't look at it, and you just throw these baseballs, you're blindfolded. The baseballs are coming out. You're just throwing them, and nobody's looking. And they create a pattern on the back wall, the target that they're hitting. They create a pattern of ripples as though you were pushing some kind of like baseball liquid through the windows, and the resulting interference of the ripples hitting each other created this is fucking retarded to try to explain without a graphic. This is the most retarded thing I've ever said.
I'm gonna try to grab it because I got a big autistic brain.
The point is that at the quantum level, until they call it observed, but that doesn't really make sense. Until a particle interacts with something, until it hit, if it's just going through space, it's not a solid like physical tangible thing like a baseball. It's a wave of probability. So it's like if the baseball imagine if you threw it 1,000 times, it's got a 50% chance of being right here, and then it's got a 10% chance of being right here, and then it's got a 10% chance of being right here, and then it's got 5% here and a 5% here. So you have this gradient of possibilities of where the baseball could be. That's actually the way that quantum particles are until they interact with something. They're not solid particles. They don't have a definite point in space. They're just waves of possibility. And there's this one guy who is actually he's the science consultant for Joyride. I paid him to do this. His name's Sean Carroll. He's like a pop physicist guy that does a lot of easy explainer video type things. But the idea, the theory of the way that reality is in his opinion is what's called the many worlds theory. In the many worlds theory, in our world, the moment that a particle or a quantum particle decides whether to, for example, have a top spin or a bottom spin, the moment where it interacts with something and has to sort of choose its definitive position and actually be measurable, the moment that happens, reality splits off into it splits off into multiple other realities where that particle has become every other possibility that it could become. So that every moment of time, reality has a thickness to it, and every unit of Planck time or every infinitesimally small moment, reality is branching off into parallel universes where things are minorly different. So reality is perpetually flowering into parallel worlds where everything that could possibly happen is happening.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Sorry. We'll have graphics. We'll put up graphics for this.
So
graphics.
That's when you said things turn into I feel a lot of things are an infinitely long tunnel. What is it? What's that movie? Donnie Darko.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I had a mushroom trip where everything was like a tube.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so crystal clear, and I was like, that's obviously not the world. It was the best trip I ever had, and it was the second one. I was in college. It was awesome.
Do you still do mushrooms?
No, I would though. Not just because I haven't gotten them, but I got someone's number at a wedding a month ago. That's gonna get me some shrooms. And this kid's a drug maker. He's a smart kid. And I was he makes good drugs all those. I want those. Those are the drugs that I like. But no, I'm gonna go sober for a little while. I'm gonna be sober. I got a 2-week head start with no cigs, no weed, no booze, so I'm gonna take it around.
Nice.
I'm going to the
COVID?
gym. Yeah.
Yeah, roll it into that.
I might as well. I got nothing else to look for.
You gotta take advantage of the COVID when you get hit with it.
You get COVID, you become a good person. I'm gonna be a good guy for 3 weeks.
That's what I did.
Be a degenerate.
When the COVID stuff hit, I got in really good shape. I got fit.
Really?
Yeah. That's when I started doing the boxing and stuff. I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna do boxing in my backyard. And then I just stuck with it, to a reasonable degree. I didn't go nuts with it, but I'm way fitter now than I was before COVID started.
Yeah?
I'm in way better shape, yeah.
I don't know why I try to fight it 6 ways. When I lived in LA, I lived next to the gym. I'd go to the gym for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Just go and work out for 2 hours straight. Just lift weights, then do what you understand. I'm good at it. I like lifting. I'm gonna do it. But at any rate, shrooms tricked me into this thing where the world is like this. It was I don't remember what it was, but cells collapse, or you could collapse yourself and like you could fly through things, and it was very real to me. And I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was reality. Like, this is it. This is, and I was like, oh. And I tried to. I remember like coming out of it and like, trying to explain to the kids I was tripping, and they were like, ah. And I was like, oh, you like, I could just like go from here to like your father's house, and like time didn't matter because I could just be 1,000,000 feet long, and like it would be like, and then you like re-erect and. It was all like tubes and like somehow that now or whatever. Who cares? I don't know what I'm talking about. But instead, I decided to sell cars my whole life, and somehow that worked out just fine. That's interesting that you're into that. You should. You shouldn't do anything about it. Are you gonna do more about it?
I'm gonna go keep boxing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat up Puerto Rican kids.
Get punched in the head.